All right, today we're going to look at the Mike Tyson video and see if Mike Tyson should be charged with assault battery for beating this guy up on a plane. My name is Nathan Laurie. If you are new here, we talk about the law and the facts. If you're about that life, don't forget to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. All right, this story is brought to us by TMZ, who I love. It's funny because most people actually trust TMZ more than they trust like the New York Times or any of the mainstream media places, which I always think is always funny. All right, so here we go. Let's look at this story. What's going on? So this is the story from yesterday. There's actually been an update and we'll go in the update. So Mike Tyson repeatedly punches a man on a plane, bloodies passenger's face. So we'll look at that video. So let's hear what happened. There's been a couple of updates on this. So let's first read the story. Mike Tyson seemed to lose his cool on a plane Wednesday night, repeatedly punching a man in the face after the guy had apparently annoyed him. So the first thing is we get that the guy just annoyed Mike and Mike just beat the guy up. I don't know if that's accurate. TMZ has learned the incident all went down at around 10:30 p.m. as Mike was slated to fly out of San Francisco International Airport to Florida. A witness on the plane says as he and his friend were boarding Tyson's flight, the boxing legend was initially cool with them and the other passengers. So if it was cool, witnesses tell us Mike took a selfie with him and then was patient with the overly excited buddy, who kept trying to talk to the 55-year-old fighter as he sat behind him. Eventually, though, we're told Tyson had enough of the guy behind him talking in his ear and told him to chill. When the guy didn't, that's when witnesses say Tyson started to throw several punches at the man's face. So someone's talking behind you. So the first story we get is someone's just talking behind Mike. Mike gets annoyed, gets up, and just animal starts punching the guy in the face. And now we get this picture of the guy all beat up, right? Shirt's ripped up, blood on his face, right? A video obtained shows Tyson throwing a flurry of blows at the man, which you can see bloodied the passenger's forehead. The witness says Mike walked off the plane just seconds later. All right, so we're told the man who was punched received medical attention and then went to the police over the incident. We reached out to the cops for comment, but so far, no word back yet. We've also reached out to JetBlue and Tyson's camp for comments on the incident as well, but no word back either. Now that was at 6:38 a.m. So now there are two updates. So let's read the update so we can all be in the know. San Francisco Police Department tells TMZ Sports officers did respond to the scene and did detain two people believed to be involved in the incident. So I'm assuming they detained Mike and this guy. Cops added, though, that after one of the people was treated for non-life-threatening injuries, that person provided minimal details of the incident and refused to cooperate further with the police investigation. So he's no snitch, right? He's like, yo, we tussled, so what? We're not going to make it a big deal, right? Which I got to respect. You know, the guy was an asshole, the guy was drunk, but at the end of the day, he did the right thing, right? He was being an asshole, and he's like, all right, you know, I messed up, so what? We got into a little tussle. It's all good. San Francisco Police Department, the SFPD, which I'm assuming is San Francisco Police Department, says it's aware of the video of the altercation and has forwarded to the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office. Then its sources close to Mike claimed the man was extremely intoxicated and wouldn't stop provoking the boxer in his seat. So now here's another update to the story. Mike Tyson's rep claims that the man threw a water bottle at him before the plane beat down. So now Mike Tyson's rep says he punched repeatedly on a plane on Wednesday, was not only harassing him, but also threw a bottle at him before the fight. Okay, so now we got someone throwing a bottle at Mike right before the fight, which kind of makes sense. So let's do a timeline of events. Let's look at what happened before the blows, because we have the video. So this is video one of Mike Tyson and this guy, what was happening before the punches were thrown. Let's listen.
Fuck your boss, fuck my boss.
This is George talking to Mike Tyson, bro. This shit crazy, bro. Mike Tyson. My dog done got lit, man.
So clearly we got an overzealous fan who's trying to conversate with Mike. It's exactly what we read, right? Simple enough. So I don't think, is that enough for assault? I don't think so. I think it's just that seems like someone just a fan of Mike's. So here is now, again, remember, they're claiming this passenger's drunk. So this is moments right before the altercation with one of the combatants, or with this, whatever this guy's name is, what he was doing.
You should have never gave you his money.
Peasants.
He got a drink in his hand, too. All right, so this guy seems to be drunk. He's, having issues with Tyson. He keeps bothering Tyson. Now, Remember this. Tyson's crew is saying that after this little piece, this guy's throwing a water bottle at Tyson. And this is why this next piece happened.
Hey. Hey, Mike, come on. Let's go stop back.
So Mike is raking his face with punches. Mike wasn't playing it, right? He's throwing bottle water at me. So bottle water's thrown. This guy's taking Mike Tyson punches to the face, which is crazy. Let me put up Mike Tyson's picture. So this is Mike Tyson, 55-year-old Mike Tyson. This is what he looks like right now. He's taking blows from this guy, former heavyweight champion of the world. This guy knocked people out for a living, and he's taking flush blows from Mike Tyson. Yeah. This is who this guy's playing with. So now let's see what happens after the fight. This is post-fight now. So they've had the fight. You saw him drunk and acting crazy. You see the altercation. Now this is post-fight.
That flight. My boy just got beat up by Mike Tyson. Turn that way.
So you can see clearly his shirt's ripped. He's got it's all beat up. This guy's he's taking a beating. Mike wasn't joking. Mike was, leave me alone. So do we have an assault and battery? Is that what this is? I think you can make the argument we do. For those of you who don't know, let's look up the common law elements for assault and battery. So here are the elements for assault and battery. Now, if you know, it's split up between assault fear and assault harm, which is also known as battery. Now, the reason why it's done this way is that in some states, they separate, you hear assault and battery, and some states don't have battery. They just have assault harm. So assault harm is essentially battery in California. So if you're in New York, you wouldn't have battery. You would just have assault. And in California, you would have assault and battery would be assault harm. I hope I didn't confuse anybody, but that's essentially what it is. So here's assault and battery. Now, these aren't technically the full legal definitions, but obviously this is a YouTube video, and this is just going to be just a quick little overview of assault and battery. So for assault, what do you need? You need an intentional act. Do we have that? Yeah, I think we do. I think Mike Tyson intended to punch this person. And did it cause reasonable fear of imminent contact? Did the guy see the punches coming and was he afraid of it? The punches didn't even have to hit. It's just, did he see it coming or was he afraid of it? I don't know if you could see that from the video, but I'm assuming that there was some assault going on there because, again, it doesn't have the punches that have to hit. It's just he's got to be fearful of the attack. Yeah, up to you. You decide that. So now, even if you agree with the assault, is this an assault and battery, or is this an assault and not a battery? So what is a battery? Battery is an intentional act, but you have to cause some type of harmful contact to the person, right? You hit the person, you bruise the person. Now, you don't need injuries, but you need contact. Do we have that here? You have intentional act and, guy's bleeding. He did cause harmful contact. So do we have an assault and battery? That's for you to decide. But we also, since we're talking about the legal definitions of assault and battery, we also have to talk about defenses of assault and battery. And we're talking about really two. We're talking about provocation and we're talking about self-defense. Self-defense is was there like an imminent threat to Mike? Now, some people will say the water bottle was an imminent threat, right? Somebody throws a water bottle at you and then Mike is defending himself from somebody throwing items at him. Yes, you could have, is that a reasonable use of self-defense? It's not like Mike shot him. So whenever you're talking about self-defense, you're talking about proportional, right? He can't shoot the guy for throwing a water bottle at him, but you can punch the guy, right? If it's imminent and it's a situation calls for it. So in this instance, the self-defense argument that Mike is trying to, I think, put up, would that be sufficient? Is this guy sitting right behind you and he throws a water bottle at Mike, Mike turns and now he's in that struggle. Is that enough to overcome the battery? To say, okay, I battered him? Because the defense is, I hit him, but I was justified in doing so because he threw the water bottle at me. Now, obviously, you're also looking at provocation too, right? And provocation is that, did this person provoke this attack from Mike Tyson? Which essentially goes back into the whole self-defense argument. But was he provoked? In the sense of, Mike took a picture with the guy earlier. He was cordial with the guy. Asked the guy multiple times to stop even from the video. The guy was drunk. He continued to press Mike. Eventually, Mike asked him again to stop. And then if the water bottle piece is true, then he threw a water bottle. Is that enough for provocation? Where you would say, well, hey, even though this is a battery or this is assault, Mike was provoked and therefore shouldn't be held either liable or guilty for this battery because it's the other person's fault that he was in a battery. I know that's a lot. I've given you a lot to think about. But at the end of the day, if the witness was coming forward and wanted to press charges, this is kind of how they would evaluate, right? Do we have all these elements, and what kind of defenses can Mike use? And can the prosecutor overcome those defenses? Now, let's say, for instance, prosecutors decide to prosecute Mike for this battery or for an assault and battery. The issue that they would come up to is that could the prosecutors prove that Mike wasn't justified in using self-defense? And I think that would be the issue here. That would be the issue in this case. Based on all the evidence here, I could see a jury siding with Mike and saying, well, he was justified because the guy threw a bottle, or the guy wouldn't leave him alone, or the guy sufficiently provoked him. And it'll be on the prosecutors to prove that that didn't happen when Mike raises it, which I'm assuming he would. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see, but I don't think Mike is going to be charged with assault or battery because the victim is not cooperating. Without a cooperating victim, you don't really have anything. So at the end of the day, how do you guys feel? Do you guys think Mike should be charged? Do you think he would be charged? Matter of fact, if Mike is even charged, do you think he'd be convicted? Right now, based on what I'm seeing, it would be hard for me to convict Mike based on what I'm seeing now. And if what happened is true, I just think that, hey, the guy deserved it, essentially, right? Put his hand in a tiger's cage and got bit. That's something you can't do. Nobody's fault, right? Except for his own. And some of you out there, if you don't think that Mike was justified, if you think the provocation for Mike hitting this guy wasn't enough, also let me know in the comment section. But right now I'm thinking if I'm sitting on that jury, or if you're sitting on that jury, what would you vote if they said, is Mike Tyson guilty of assault or battery? Would you say he was justified, or would you say he's not? Let me know in the comment section. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.